Waka were very important. That was the car of the day. Back in those days, everyone needed a car. Hey, so everyone came here to Okataina and put their tono in to the likes of Te Rāhui himself, and then he'd get the help of his sons Amahai and Wiremu, and then they would build their waka. I think a lot of them were single hull back in those days to make it easier for fishing and all that, and more the double hull canoes were more for the ocean, and they would have had sails as well. These particular ones, especially ones that we've seen in old photos back in the early 1900s and late 1800s, very thin, long, single-hull wakas that were paddled by our people, and of course they were used for fishing as well. They would go out to the moana, tēnei moana nei, and ka makai atu wārātau kupenga, so their fishing nets. They would also paddle them out to particular tumu. So tumu was a post that was stuck into the lake there, and at times they would tie up one end of the net on one tumu to the other tumu, and that was one other purpose that they would use. But basically back in those days it was just the waka to get to the destination faster, especially if they could get there by water. One of the things that they would that they used the water for as well, with waka building back in those days, they would fell the trees, they would hollow them out. Sometimes they would just hollow the canoe out. Sometimes they would hollow it out in two different quarters, lash them together, bind them with natural resources, and then there were two parts, two additions to that. They would burn the waka, or actually they would soak it in the swamp or soak it in the water for about a period, or a couple of months actually, and that was for to activate the floating device on there, I suppose. But after that they would burn the waka. If we spoke about the Tarāwhai canoe, the kōrero says that it took them a month to burn. Then they started from the stern and went all the way through to the prow of the canoe, and it took them a whole month to burn, and that rid it of any sap and other things to allow it to float better, more. So it was always soaking it first and then burning it all the way through. Another one of the main uses for water as well when it comes to waka.